Hello there, students, and welcome to another English grammar lesson. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to give advice to someone using modal verbs. So now you might be wondering what modal verbs are we going to learn in this lesson. So in this lesson, we are going to learn the modal verbs should and ought to, which are used to give advice to someone. Okay, so let's start with the topic. But first, let's take a look at the usage notes. For example, the first one is should is much more common than ought to. Okay, that is the first one. Now let's see the second one. We don't usually use the negative form of ought to in American English. Instead, we use shouldn't. Okay, number three, which is the last one. We often soften advice with maybe, perhaps, or I think. As you can see here, I have an example. For example, Ryan, maybe you shouldn't spend too much time on the internet. That was an example using the third usage. Okay, now let's study the modal verb should. But first, let's take a look at the structures. So you can see here that we have the affirmative form, we have the negative form, and we have the interrogative form. So for example, in the affirmative form, we have the subject. Remember that in the subject, that could be I, you, he, she, it, we, they. Should, which is the modal verb, then we have the verb. The verb has to be in the base form. Then we have the complement. Now let's see an example using the modal verb should in affirmative form giving an advice. For example, let's see, you should eat more vegetables. So in this case, we are giving an advice to him that he shouldn't eat too much junk food. Instead, he should eat more vegetables. Okay, now let's see the negative form. For the negative form, it's basically almost the same as in the affirmative form, but we are going to add not in our sentences. For example, we have the subject, then we have should, but we are going to add not plus verb plus complement. Let's see an example using should. So over here, you can see here that this girl is eating too much candy. So an advice for her should be you shouldn't eat candies. You shouldn't eat candies. Okay, now let's take a look at the interrogative form. For this time, we are going to put the should at the beginning of our sentence, then we are going to put the subject, then the verb, at the end the complement, but please do not forget to add the question mark at the end of the sentences. So let's see an example using this. Okay, okay, this person is asking us, should I go to the doctor? Should I go to the doctor? As you can see here, should is the modal verb, then we have the subject, which is I, then we have the verb go. To the doctor is acting as the complement, and at the end we have the question mark. Okay, that was great. Now let's see. Now let's take a look at ought to. Now that you can see ought to, you might be wondering why, Kevin, don't you have the negative form, the interrogative form here? Okay, so in this case, I don't have the negative form and the interrogative form because in this case, I cannot use that. So that's why only I have the affirmative form. Okay, so for the affirmative form, we have the subject, then we have ought to, then we have the verb, and at the end, we have the complement. Let's see an example using the modal verb ought to. Okay, this, you look awful. You ought to go back to bed. Okay, so in this example, you can see that we are giving an advice to this person. Okay, now let's continue. Okay, now let's give some advice to someone. For example, this person says, help, I am bored. Okay, so let's give an advice to him using the modal verb should. Okay, so if you are bored, you should watch a movie, or you should listen to music, or you should play with your friends. Okay, that was an example using the modal verb should. Okay, now let's give advice to this woman. Okay, this woman says that she has started feeling headache, so she ought to go to the doctor. Let's continue. Now, in this example, we are going to use the modal verb should for giving advice. So this person is eating too much. So as an advice, you should go to the gym. You should go to the gym. Okay, now in this example, we are going to use the modal verb ought to. Okay, this boy has been playing with her friends in the afternoon, but he has a lot of homework assignments. So as my advice for him is, you should do your homework first before going to play with your friends. Now let's test your knowledge. Can we use should in the negative form? Pause the video and respond. Choose letter A or B. Okay, pause the video. Good job. If we choose letter B, which is yes, we can use should in affirmative, negative, and interrogative forms. That's great. You did it excellent. Now let's see our next question. Okay, now this is the last question. Can we use ought to in the negative and interrogative forms? Okay, pause the video and respond. You got it? Okay, if you choose letter A, no, we can't use ought to in negative forms and interrogative forms. You did it excellent, and that is true. We cannot use ought to in the negative and interrogative forms. Thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great day.